This is how you set up the pop-up camper, and step one is once you backed into the campsite, you want to get a firm foundation, and where you'll find everything is in this door, and this is where you start with this bag. The leveling bubbles are here on each side. So this is the one you want to look at when you first back in, and if it's off, we'll show you how to balance the pop-up. So once you get the pop-up about where you want it, you can raise or lower by pulling the entire pop-up with your vehicle forward onto here. So you can do different heights depending on how high you want to go. If it's only that much, you go that high, or you can build it up to go even higher to get the correct level you want. We get these braces and we put these in place to stabilize the pop-up camper, and we have a crank to put the back braces down. The braces go on either side in the front, and I usually position them in front of these holes, and you can adjust them accordingly. It's a little high in the back, so we're going to adjust the leveling by watching the bubble, and you crank either up or down with this handle here. You put this plastic cup underneath the wheel. To level the back of the pop-up camper, to stabilize it, you put the crank right into this shaft here, and then you crank it down. To take off this bike rack, and the way you do it is you pull up on this lever, and that'll loosen it up, and it's off. Once you take the cords off, the bike rack can stay on the top, and you can crank it to the top. As you have to take this electrical cord and hook up here now, because when you crank this up, it'll be too high to put it in later. So we have to unlatch all 4 of these latches. There's 2 on each side. As we have to crank the pop-up up, this is where you get the crank. This string here, when it's taut, it'll tell you when the pop-up's all the way up at the top. So you'll find on the beds these braces, and there's 2 of them. And what you do is you just put them into position like this, and they snap in. That gives a little extra stability to the pop-up. One goes on this corner and the opposite corner. Get the braces to pull the beds out, and you'll find these on top of the bed. So the short ones go in the front. There's 2 in the front, 2 in the back. You grab this loop here and you pull the bed out, and when it actually stops, the brace itself goes into this hole down here, and if you use your back, you can lift and pop it into place. To do the back bed, same process. Pull out the bed, stick the pole in the hole, and hook it underneath the bed. Okay. After you pull out the bed, bring the canvas over the edges of the bed and find this bungee cord, and this stretches across the bottom and hooks into an eyelet on the other side. So we put the canvas around these support posts, so you have to kind of pull it out and go ahead and wrap it around and secure it to the Velcro, like so. So this part pulls out the step because we're going in. So you'll find these supports on the bed, and they hook into here, and this takes a little bit of muscle with this particular pop-up camper. So you're going to push, and you want to hook this, there's a hole here, into this support. So sometimes you have to really push it to get it to work. We flip up the sink, and see this little red button? What this does is it enables the electricity. So if these lights don't work for some reason, make sure this button is engaged. And we're going to go ahead and pull it up. That's all there is to it. But unhook the door from these points here, and it'll swing down, and you have to position the canvas on each side of the frame. There's Velcro on each side, and lift it up the best you can to go on the top of this door. You put the clips on it here, and then Velcro both sides. This will latch right here, and it's all connected. Okay, this can be a third bed for somebody, but it's also a table. So this part comes out, and underneath here is where the stove stores when we put it away. And there's a little track here that it rides on that keeps it from banging around. So I'm going to go ahead and take that out.
And that attaches over there?
We're just going to set it here for now.
Come back to it.
Yep, and these posts go in, and then the table sits on top of these posts. So if you look down here, you'll see there's a hole going out. We're hooking up the stove, so you can either go outside or inside. We're going to hook it up inside, so you basically just snap this into the coupler, and there's the on-off valve. We usually keep the tank off on the front of the pop-up camper. So with every trip you take, it'd be really cool. We're going to leave this journal on the counter, and if you can go ahead and take this and add to it, you know, things that happen on your trip. And we've got it started already. And if you can go ahead and add a paragraph on, well, how God blessed you on the trip, things you did, animals you saw, or just give a, you know, just a one paragraph thing. It'd be cool to add to it, and as we can look back on it trip after trip after trip, people can read this when they're camping. You may not even need this for camping, but if you have a post with power and water near the pop-up at a state park, you can have the water going in. We have a hose in that small compartment in the front door that goes in, and then we've got a hose here that will hook up, that will be water running out. And we usually take that and we run it into the little pit that's by that state park post. Over here, this is your RV plug. It goes out about 15-20 feet. And then we have an extension inside the pop-up if you need to go farther. And this, of course, is the power to the inside of the pop-up that we hook up before you crank it up. This is where you put the water in for the tank. And that's, again, we don't ever use the water tank, but if you do, this is where you put the water in. And to drain it, there's a plug at the bottom of the tank that you unhook.
Somewhere under there.
Yeah, somewhere under there.